Welcome to the W2W review. I am the Oakland Knight, and today I will be running solo. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We just finished up the first quarter of the season. We come out of the first quarter 3-1. We had 4 nail-biting games where we obviously ended up on top of 3 of those. But the concern moving forward for me at this point, and once again, this is just an opinion, is when the more close games that we play, the more opportunity there is to lose these football games. Every time you find yourself in a close battle like that, the opportunity for it to go the other way is always at high risk, okay? We find ourselves in 50-50 matchups in the fourth quarter, and luckily, we've been able to pull off 3 of those. We could talk all day about our defense, because statistically it's bad, and we will definitely get into the defense in the second half of this program. But I want to start off, obviously, by talking about our strength, which is the offense. This is just one of those things where, we can find ourselves keep putting in the position to talk about. And I want to make this statement first and foremost and make it clear. These are opinions. We're not here to change your opinion. We're just here to state our opinion and what we see. And we've been pretty critical on Bill Musgrave. I talked about it Monday on the W2W review show, where I talked about, taking a look at what Bill Musgrave has been able to do thus far. The fact that right now, heading into week 5, we are the number 3 ranked offense in the league, which, come on, we'll take that all day, right? But my question to you is not really to put down Bill Musgrave or to say Bill Musgrave should be fired. I'm just stating my opinion of what I want to see this offense become. What I think this offense needs to become, not only to be a playoff contender, but really to have an opportunity to make some noise inside the playoff picture. So, as good as Bill Musgrave has been with his conservative approach, because let's face it, it continues to be extremely conservative, especially in first half of ball games. I think it's time, even though, and I will state this too, I believe that Jack Del Rio is okay with it too. This is the kind of offense that Jack loves to have. An offense that could strike, an offense that can control the clock, although we didn't do the best of jobs against the Ravens controlling the clock, primarily because we weren't able to run the football. But this is the way that Jack Del Rio envisions his football teams. Control the clock, put up some points, but really rely on his defense to win football games. Now, this defense is not there yet. This defense is not in a position that we could lean on it to win football games. Yes, I understand the defense did do that last week. It really came down to the defense being able to hold the Ravens at a field goal range, not giving Tucker the opportunity to kick at least a 54 to 60-yard field goal to win the football game. They did their job. But as we talked about yesterday in the W2W review, and the way that Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp were talking about this Raider defense on Undisputed, Shannon Sharp brought up the fact, this is the only thing that he said that I agreed with only to a minimal point, was that the Baltimore Ravens were forced in a situation where they had to throw the football. For the last 4 plays, they knew they had to get 15 yards, at least 15 yards to give Tucker a chance. And that really helped our defense shine, because when you know that the ball is going to be put in the air, it really changes your way that you're able to rush the passer. You're able to rush the passer without worrying about the running back, right? Worrying about getting burned on that draw play or an outside sweep or missing a gap up front. You could totally do whatever it is that you need to do to get to the quarterback. And we were able to apply pressure. We were able to force the ball out of his hand early. Reggie Nelson was able to come up and make plays and actually win that football game. So, in saying that, you take that philosophy and you have to ask yourself, okay, well, how can we implement that now? What needs to happen moving forward, especially when we find ourselves starting the second quarter at home? Okay, we have yet to win a home game this year. We only had one, which is a positive too, right? Because our 3 wins have been on the East Coast, in the morning games on the East Coast time zone, and we're a 3 We're a 3-0 team on the road, and that's something that we could, rest our hats on too and be excited about. But it's going to be a moot point if we can't win at home, and we have a perfect opportunity here to defend our home turf. And not only is it a must-win game, I think it's a must-win statement game where we come out and we do everything that we can to really put it on the San Diego Chargers, which is not going to be an easy task because this is a team that is obviously struggling right now, especially playing in the second half of football games, primarily in the fourth quarter. They continue to make mistakes. They continue to blow leads and lose games that most people maybe feel they should have won. So what is our best attack, especially offensively? Okay, we know the way that Bill Musgrave has ran this ball club in the first 4 games. We know that it's led us to be the 3rd overall offense in the league right now. Carr is putting up points. Carr's numbers are pretty solid. With the exception of what we did last week rushing the football, we've done extremely well at being a real balanced attack. But even not being able to rush the football, we were able to score 28 points. Carr threw for 4 TDs. This is, a favorable matchup this week, okay? But I think with the ability that Phillip Rivers has throwing the football and having a guy, even though they lost Keenan Allen, they got a guy in Kelvin Benjamin who can be just as much of a threat. So what do we do moving forward offensively? I think the offense primarily in this game needs to set the tone and needs to set the tone early. We're talking first half. We need to at least we're a team. If we could put up 28 points with only 199 passing yards and 62 rushing yards, there's no way in my mind anyway that we should have to understand we have that ability to put up at least 21 points, or we should try a lot harder to put up 21 points in the first half and give this defense the best opportunity to excel by making the opposing offense predictable. And I know it's a lot to ask, and I know that if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's always been the mantra, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's not about thinking that this offense is broke. Obviously, it's not. But in the world that we live in the NFL standing not for long, this offense has an opportunity to get better. It's not about fixing something that's broke. It's about capitalizing and improving on something that's already good. And if you can continue to do that and find a way to generate the kind of offense that we need heading in to the second quarter and getting up on a team, it really, really helps out a defense that obviously is struggling right now. We cannot deny the fact that this defense, statistically anyway, is struggling. I think we saw some great improvements in the last 2 weeks, and we'll get into that in the second segment. But, this offense can really set the tone as well as help this defensive out. So I want this game to be, look, I'm not looking for a complete blowout here. Okay. I'm not looking for us to beat these guys by 3 touchdowns or more. But it would be nice to be heading in to halfway through the fourth quarter mark with at least a 10-point lead, a solid 2-possession lead, and being in a position where our offense could run the football, work the clock, and the defense can be predictable. We force them to have to move the ball faster than they want to, make them unbalanced, make them want to have to throw the football. We saw that this defense can shine in those situations. We saw it last week against the Ravens where Joe Flacco, has the ability to do that, but we were able to defend it because we knew they had to throw the football. So again, this is not me calling for Bill Musgrave's job. This is not me saying that Bill Musgrave is the worst thing that's ever happened to this football team. This is me just stating a simple fact. It is a little too conservative, especially in the first half of ball games. That's not an unfair statement to make. That is not, that does not mean that I have no faith in Bill Musgrave, because obviously he has the ability to call that kind of game. We see it in the fourth quarter of each and every week that we played thus far. This guy knows how to call a more aggressive game. He needs to figure that out early and often. That's what's going to separate us from the pack. And we have an opportunity here in the next 2 weeks to actually make that statement and set the tone moving forward. 2 home games, 2 divisional opponents. We're already up in the standings. We're ranked number 2. We're looking up at the Denver Broncos, which is exactly where I want to be. In order to be the best, you got to beat the best. So we're in we have an opportunity here to come out in the second quarter and try to at least put up another 3-1 mark in the second quarter as we get ready to go against the Denver Broncos and make that the true statement game as far as the West is concerned. But we're at a good pace right now. And I don't want us to take the San Diego Chargers, number one, lightly, but I don't want to give a guy like Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, and Kelvin Benjamin the opportunity to win a nail biter against us. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want another game to fall short on us in the fourth quarter, and especially against a divisional foe at home. I just don't want to see it. And I think our best opportunity to make sure that does not happen is to come out aggressively and firing on all cylinders on offense. Look, there's no excuses at this point. We could totally make the argument too that we've been on the road. Okay, we've played on the road. We've had to deal with crowd noise. We played a little conservative. We tried to understand what the defense is doing. We tried to set the tone within ourselves to say, okay, this is what we're seeing. So by the third and fourth quarter, they're more on the same page and they can open it up. There's no crowd noise. We need to eliminate pre-snap penalties. We need to eliminate penalties in general because we've lost we left a lot of points on the board due to penalties, especially pre-snap penalties. There's been a few holding penalties that's really hurt this football team. So we need to clean that up. And there's no better time than to do something like that at home where there's no crowd noise. There should be no reason why we should have pre-snap penalties, period. So, Bill Musgrave has that in his pocket too. We could complain all day about, how he calls a game when he's put into those 1st and 15, 1st and 20 type situations and how he becomes extremely predictable. We don't want to be that kind of football team. We want to be the kind of football team that sets the tone, especially offensively, because that's our strength, where we make the opposing offense become predictable. And that's where I see that this, not only do we have the potential to do that, this is something that I think that we should do this week. And as long as we're able to do that, it's going to set the tone for the defense, and this pass rush can continue to develop and get going. These corners can play faster. The safeties can play faster. The linebackers can play faster because it's so predictable. Now, there's a lot that goes into that too. It's going to be easier said than done. We're going to have to still be able to step up in the first half and play some good defense. And I think that we've seen that. If you look back to what we were able to do the last 2 weeks in the first half defensively, we have totally given this offense the opportunity to play fast, to jump ahead of on teams, and we just haven't been able to do that. Even though that we did go into the half last week with a lead, we gave it up late in the game. We fell behind, and then obviously we have the kind of offense that's resilient, explosive. We fought right back. We marched down the field. Carr hits Crabtree. It's all good. We go up by 1. We put it on the defense's shoulders. It got to a situation where the last 4 plays were predictable. They had to put it in the air, and we were able to stop it. So my only point I'm trying to make is that the offense can do that in the first half and continuously do that. And then there's another key point to that. I'm going to get into it into the second half. It's not totally on the offense, Raider Nation. Okay, I'm not saying that. It's a team sport. Regardless of how fast we start, the defense needs to come ready because, the San Diego Chargers, they start off fast. They're going to come out. They're going to sling the ball. They're going to try to run against us. We're vulnerable in all areas of defense right now. Statistically anyway. I think that, this team has plenty of talent and has the ability to rebound from that. And I'm already jumping ahead. I'll save that for the second segment. But the offense needs to set the tone. That's just my personal opinion. And I believe that with a little bit more aggressive play calling, with eliminating these pre-snap penalties and these holding penalties, and stop getting ourselves in too many situations where we're in 1st and long, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, we can actually generate a lot of points. I mean, I'm actually excited to see it because I really believe that's been the MO for this football team, especially offensively, having to continue to make big plays in late and downs, 3rd and longs, 2nd and longs. We've seen the ability to do that, but we're just finding ourselves in those situations more often than we should be. And if we can come out in the first half and eliminate that part and really put ourselves in 3rd and short situations, the time of possession will be better. We'll be able to generate more first downs on 3rd downs. And, even if it becomes a situation where we're not as effective in the red zone, Janikowski has the leg to get us points. And that's all we need, is to build upon what we've been able to do thus far. I understand if it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm a big advocate for that. But it's not a situation that, hey, if this is broke, fix it. It's not broke, but there's so much more potential to become better. Let's get better. Let's become the St. Louis Rams of the 2000s, or 1999, I believe it was. Let's become that kind of team. We have the kind of firepower to be that kind of team, and I want to see it this week. This is an opportunity for us to defend our house against a division rival, and I say it's time to do so, and it starts offensively. All right, that's going to wrap up segment 1. When we get back from break, we're going to talk about what this defense needs to do in the first half to really kind of get the offense enough opportunities to create that. There's one key thing for me that I believe is essential for this defense to do, and we'll get into that after the break. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the W2W Review. I am the Oakland Knight, and now we're going to get in and we're going to talk a little bit of defense. In the first half, we talked about the offense. We talked about how, no, it's not broke. We don't necessarily need to fix it, but I think there's an opportunity here to improve on it, to make it better, to become like the 99 St. Louis Rams, where they were the fastest show on turf. I think that this team could actually be that dominating. I really see it. I believe that we could tack all over the field. I believe we have the running backs to do so. We have a nice rotation going on where we're keeping these guys fresh for 4 quarters, and either one of these 3 running backs can take over a football game. So with that being said, if they're able to come out against the San Diego Chargers and jump on them early and often and be able to generate some first half points and really take over this football game, it really is going to help out this defense, especially in the second half. But in order for that to happen as well, I know I'm putting a lot on the offense, and, we can argue that fact later on, but I believe that this defense, first and foremost, needs to go back to where we were last season, where we were actually really solid against the run. This is the way that this defense has to be the primary focal point in the first half of this ball game. Okay, we saw last week this defensive front come alive against the pass rush. We saw Khalil Mack get to Flacco on a regular basis. We saw Bruce Irvin get to the quarterback on a regular basis. We saw Autry breaking through the middle. Jahad Ward was back there at one point. They really got after the passer in Baltimore, and I think that really helped us win that football game. And in fact, I know it helped us win that football game. Flacco was getting hit and pressed constantly. We were in his head. And even though that we weren't able to tally up the sacks, this is the kind of ability that this front has. We know if the opportunity is there, they can get after the passer. What we need at this point is to be able to put together a solid run attack. And this is where, I really want to see Dan Williams maybe be implemented in this early. I know Autry did an outstanding job of creating press and push inside the pocket last week, but in order to stop the run, I still say that Dan Williams is the key in the middle to set the tone for these linebackers. Now, we got a situation at the outside linebacker spot, the weak side spot with Malcolm Smith. I haven't heard any report of his status, but I do know that we picked up a former 4th-round pick from the Washington Redskins and a guy named Riley. Could he be this year's David Amerson, another Washington washout that can come on and fit into this defense? We soon shall see. But until we do, we need to know that if we're able to shut down Melvin Gordon in this rushing attack of the San Diego Chargers, then that's going to make them one-dimensional, just that alone. But I think we need to get them off the field, and they're going to try to run the football on us, guys. Teams. I mean, we let a guy like West run for over 100 yards on us, and this is a team that averaged 45 rushing yards per game until they faced us. So obviously, that's an issue right now for this football team. We cannot deny that. So, the question becomes, what is it that we have to do in the first half? Stop the run. Stop the run. And then once we stop the run, obviously we have to get off the field on third downs, try to get some 3-and-outs and continue to give this offense the opportunity to do what I talked about in the first half, which is to score points. Not every possession needs to be a touchdown. As long as we can maybe get 2 touchdowns and a couple of field goals, and we're able to keep the San Diego Chargers from being a fast starting offense, which they have been through the first half of the season or the first quarter of the season, then we are setting the tone for us to dominate this game. And, the question really becomes, why is it so important that we dominate this football game? Well, first and foremost, it's going to be good for my heart. I'm not as young as I once was. I would love to be able to kick back and watch a game in the fourth quarter without, chewing on my nails and taking some nitro pills and doing all that kind of stuff. It would be nice to really see this team put together a solid victory. That's the one thing that we haven't got yet. That's the one thing missing out of this great start to this season, is going out and being able to dominate a football team. And I believe the opportunity is here this week. It's a divisional opponent. We're at home. And I believe the offense needs to set the tone, but the defense needs to do its part. And it starts off by stopping the run. We stop the run. We get off the field on third downs. We force these guys in the second half to put the ball in the air, and makes it a lot easier for this defense to play fast. Then we could pull away with this game. And what that does is it sets the tone, not only for the rest of the league, but especially the AFC West. It lets them know that we're just not this team that's learning how to win late quarter games. We're a kind of team that can take over a game and dominate it. We need to start getting inside the Denver Broncos' heads. They're the top dogs. Once again, they're 4-0. And I'll be honest with you, like I said, I like that situation. I like the fact that we're looking up at the Denver Broncos right now. In order to be the best, you got to beat the best. And no, I couldn't think of a better scenario than for us to be right now a game back of the Denver Broncos, and an opportunity when we meet to take over this division. And it starts by winning these next 2 games. They're home games, they're divisional games, and to do it in a sound way. It's a large task. Every time there's a divisional game, nothing is easy. It's really hard to face a divisional opponent. We know each other inside and out. It really comes down to who's going to execute their game plan the best. And we have shown, we have been a resilient football team. Defensively, again, all right, we have our statistical struggles. Ever since the Tennessee Titan game, when Jack Del Rio made the personnel changes with Corey James and Carl Joseph, you saw an improvement. We're not asking this team to be a top 10 defense at this point. We just want to see them continue to improve. And this week, as long as they can improve against the run, it's really going to help our offense excel. And I know that sounds funny. I don't know how many of you are going to be able to digest that. How is stopping the run going to help the offense excel? Because we already seen that this offense has the ability to score all over the field. All they need is the opportunities. We're at home. The crowd noise should be down. That should literally eliminate our pre-snap penalties. Then all we have to focus on is staying disciplined in our blocking schemes and not hold, and get these holding calls that have been crucial to this football team. There was a touchdown pass to Clive Walford. There was a first down run by Derek Carr. I can continue to go on and on and on about that. At the end of the day, we could stop the run and really make it a focal point for this team, the San Diego Chargers, that is, to throw the football, and we develop that lead. I think this defense will shine. I think that's what this defense is set up for. Last season we saw, a team on the defensive front that was really able to shut down the run and couldn't stop the pass. I believe we have the personnel. I believe in Sean Smith still. I know he's had his struggles, but Sean Smith is still a good corner. You got David Amerson, who's still playing lights out. You got Reggie Nelson, Carlos Joseph. That's our strength right now. That's our strength. So if we could find a way to shut down the run and continue to score on offense, especially in the first half, I think you're going to see a whole different statistical outcome defensively. I really, truly do. So, and not only statistically, I mean, I've said it before, statistics are what they are. Okay. They don't always tell the whole story, but I want to win this game soundly. I'm not looking for a blowout. I'm not looking for us to crush San Diego. Although, man, I would be one of the most excited individuals out there if we're able to shut down and destroy San Diego. I just want to win San Diego, let's say, by 13 points, 10 to 14 points. Let's just say that. If we could go in midway through the fourth quarter with a two-possession lead, and we force them into a situation where Phillip Rivers has to pull the trigger. As scary as that may sound, because Phillip Rivers can do a good job at it, we showed last week that we're set up to excel in those situations. We force them to put it in the air like that. This defensive front doesn't have to worry about them rushing the football. We can get to Phillip Rivers. This secondary can hold its own, knock balls down, maybe even get a pick. We are playing well when we know what's coming, especially in the passing game. So I think those are the keys, heading into this week. Offense needs to dominate the first half, and all we need to see from this defense is continue to play that bend and don't break, but essentially be key at stopping the run. Like I said, we're going to keep an eye on this kid Riley. We're going to see if he gets some snaps this week, because it's kind of scary going into this on that weak side spot. We're going to have to shift some things around again, but this team continues to show that it plays for each other. The next man up philosophy has been excellent for this football team, whether it's been at middle linebacker, whether it's been at safety, or most importantly, across this offensive line. We've shown that we're the kind of team that is going to be resilient and actually play for each other. But ultimately, I mean, that's primarily my vision for this defense in the first half, is to be able to stop the run. But ultimately, they got to be ready for Phillip Rivers to be throwing that football. Phillip Rivers, I believe, is the third-ranked quarterback in the league right now, and if not third, he's fourth. This guy is throwing the heck out of the football. He continuously throws the heck out of the football year in and year out. This is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Depending on who you talk to, some will have him top 5. He's definitely a top 10 quarterback. Me personally, I got him around my top 6, top 7. But nevertheless, that's also a matter of opinion. So we have to be ready. We have to be a disciplined football team. And that's where I think we've struggled. If we're focusing on the run, then we're acceptable to the pass. If we focus on the pass, we're obviously acceptable to the run. And I know the true weakness of this football team is in the middle of the football field, at least the middle of the front 7. So whether it's the play of our defensive tackles or whether it's the play of our linebackers as a whole, we saw a great improvement by having Corey James in there, leading the team in tackles the last few weeks since he started, which is amazing. The second leader in tackles is Carl Joseph. Obviously, that's been one of the biggest difference of us being able to get off the field and give the offense more opportunities to generate leads. We just need to, once again, be able to play this kind of football for 4 quarters. I don't want to continue to find ourselves in these situations once again where it's coming down to the fourth quarter and who has the ball last. Obviously we would like to be put in that situation where it's Derek Carr running a 2-minute drill at the end of a game. But hey, the best way to avoid that is not to be put in those situations, okay? That's all I'm looking for here. I'm looking not only to win this football game soundly, but I don't want it to come down to a final drive, whether it's on our offense or on our defense. And I believe the key to that is obviously to score early and often. And obviously, we're a kind of defense that I'm not expecting them to come out and shut out the San Diego Chargers. But if we could shut down the run and make them one-dimensional and make sure that we know that Phillip Rivers is going to put the ball in the air, I think that's where we can get the best of Phillip Rivers. We also have to tackle very well in this football game. So a lot of things on the table, Raider Nation, a lot of things on the table. But, I'm going to leave you guys with this. We need to understand as a football team that we're very good. We're very good. Yes, statistically, defensively, we could argue the fact that this is not a good football team. This is a young, dynamic defense right now. I mean, we got 5 rookies playing in there. We talk about that all the time. Khalil Mack is starting to get going, and Khalil Mack will continue to excel and start to dominate once everybody else starts doing their job. Bruce Irvin. I believe Bruce Irvin has done a good job. I really think it comes down to the middle of this defensive line. I don't care if it's Ward. I don't care if it's Autry. I don't care if it's Latham, Williams, Ellis. Somebody needs to continue to play consistent up front in the middle of this defensive line, and you're going to see guys like Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin take over football games. I see it. I saw it last week. You start to see it develop. This is the potential. Now we're talking potential, but that's okay. We are right where we need to be. We're 3-1, starting the second quarter, 2 home games against division foes. It's time to make that move, and you make that move by making a statement this week against the San Diego Chargers and beat them soundly. Hey, if we could blow them out, hey, let's do it. But if we beat these guys soundly, I'm talking anywhere from 10 to 14 point victory over the San Diego Chargers at home, a division foe. That's a statement. It's a must win, yes, but that's the statement I'm looking for. I'm looking for a dominant performance against a division foe at home, go 4-1, hosting the Chiefs, and play lights out football and really start to really excel right now. I mean, we come out and we continue to do this in the first half of the season. It sets us up really strong in the second half. I'm excited. I know that you guys are excited. Hey, guys, don't forget, you guys could find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at The Will to Win. And you can email us any questions, any concerns at thew2w@gmail.com. That's thew2w@gmail.com. And guys, don't forget, live after every game, you could find us here on YouTube, taking your live phone calls, answering your questions, and getting your insight on that week's matchup. So, yay, right after the San Diego game, jump on YouTube, give us a call. We would love to hear your excitement, and if something bad happens, we'd love to see what you guys saw and what you think was the issues moving forward. But until then, I'm the Oakland Knight. This has been brought to you by the Will to Win broadcast. And until tomorrow, you stay Raider strong. Hey there, I'm Jason Smith, also known as the Oakland Knight. We'd like to thank you for watching the Will to Win broadcast here on YouTube. And if you would like to stay up to date for more content like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Or you could click any one of the videos on the side to watch more great videos. Thank you once again, and stay Raider strong.